7.5, your final poet of the first round. After that, we cut it to 4. We cutthroat bitches. And then 2, give it up for Ken.
Exit 186, I-71. You should go sometime. This poem is from friend and former Dayton poet legend Mike Hefflinger. If you've been around a long time, you might know this cat. The woman who wrote poems about me.
Oh my God.
The woman who wrote poems about me has 2 kids, still lives at home, has a husband she met after I left town with the dead man, still looks so young when I see her in the auditorium in Yellow Springs, still hollows me like a cantaloupe, had a father who treated me like a son, raised our dog and named her, knew the dead man I left with, stood on the front porch with our dog and her father who treated me like a son and watched us roll away from her house, raised our dog until she died too, published a book of her poems and put them online, and one was about me. Published a poem of such unbelievable young love that I snapped the computer shut and got up from the table and felt sick to my stomach in love because I remembered the past that poem was about, and it still weighs heavy on my collarbones. Published a poem that choked me. Published a poem I kind of remember reading a draft of in her father's house. Never met the woman who married me. Never met Chicago me, Berlin me, Philadelphia me. Never called me that year in Minneapolis. Never got in touch. Never said she thought about me coming home, like I did in the poem she published that I found online. Wanted me to come home once, waited for me, and wrote about me coming home once. Can empty me out like a house moved out of. Watched from the porch as I loaded the truck, hollows me out after all these years, like a canoe, like an avocado, like a swallow that won't go down. Mike Hefflinger.
Oh, that's awkward. I know Mike, and I know the woman he wrote about. I've been around for a long ass time. Let's put it this way. There's a reason when I started doing this show many years ago, I went to Scott Woods up in Columbus and I said, Scott, oh master, teach me. And he goes, okay, there's a couple of rules you need to remember. Rule number 1, don't fuck the poets. Rule number 2, don't fuck the poets. Okay, Scott, good to know. And a couple of times I broke that rule, disastrous. So, for Ken from Low to High, we have an 8.